Hello, everyone. Welcome to the August 26th regular council meeting for the Village of Lytton. I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone to please turn off your videos, mute your microphones, and allow council to begin the proceedings. Just to let you know, we're all being recorded and broadcasted on the Village of Lytton YouTube channel. If anyone is looking for a video recording of this meeting or a past meeting, you can go to the Village YouTube channel and watch it there. Thank you, Your Worship. You may call the meeting to order.
Thank you. I call this Tuesday, August the 26th, regular council meeting to order at 7 p.m. sharp. So we want to begin by recognizing that we're meeting this evening on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Ethnakatlan people. We will move right on, and we need a motion to adopt tonight's agenda. Thank you. Seconder.
I'll second.
And all those in favor? Carried. And on to the adoption of the minutes of the August 12th meeting. So moved Lightfoot. Thank you. Seconder.
Second.
And were there any errors or omissions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And I'm going to turn it back over to Corporate Officer Storchenko regarding public comment.
Thank you, Your Worship. So members of the public are now invited to comment on matters related to the agenda. If you would like to speak, please use the raise hand function on Zoom. You can find that by clicking on React at the bottom of your screen and then click Raise Hand. When it's your turn, I'll read your name. You'll be asked to unmute yourself. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to please state and spell your name, say your address, and the agenda item number you're speaking to. If anyone would like to speak, please use the raise hand function now. I'll call for a second time. If anyone would like to speak, please use the raise hand function now. And seeing no one, and there is no one here at Parish Hall, I'll turn it over to you, Your Worship.
Perfect. We'll move right on to item number 7, which is staff reports. And we'll begin with Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, Diane Monberquette, with the monthly capital projects update.
Thank you very much, Mayor O'Connor. Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to ask CO Storoshenko to pull the update up on the screen just so that we can kind of follow along if possible. I'll just kind of start while she's doing that. This is our regular monthly update that we've started doing sort of since the beginning of this year. So just going to run through the 6 main capital projects that we have underway and a bit of an update on each one. So the first one on the list is the community hub. So planned for over on Fraser Street with funding from the GICB program. We've got the RFP for the design build of the pool. We're making a couple last little tweaks and then it'll get posted on BC Bid. So, and we're also going to put it on the Construction Association website. So that will be seeking bids by September the 19th, I believe is the closing date for that one. We've got the architects have been working on some programming workshops with council and the project advisory committee. And when they talk about programming, they're talking about really the design and layout of the building, not necessarily operational programming, which will come later on in the process. So they've been working through gathering some of those requirements. They will be at the village open house that we're going to have on Saturday at the new Public Works building. So open house from 10 till 3, and they will be there. The architects will be there. And we've recently been working with the Catholic Church to try to get a final decision on the potential to swap the lots that we've talked about before on Fraser Street. So that would be swapping 378 Fraser for 420 Fraser, just a flip of those lots so that our community hub project can be on one continuous piece of land. Doesn't need to kind of wrap around one. So and we're working on the communication and engagement plan for working with basically all the kind of the surrounding communities, making sure that we're gathering input from everybody there. So the next project would be the fire hall. And so the funding application is in for this. And we're getting very positive feedback on that. So should have more to report on that soon. The one piece that we've been working on with that, the application included the the property on up on Loring, what we're calling 200 Loring Way, so the end of Loring Way, right beside starting from the cemetery down. And but just based on some of the requirements of the Ministry of Transportation, the fire trucks will be exiting off onto Loring Way from the fire hall. So we're just working with ministry just to understand what highway upgrades would be needed if it were even possible to have an entrance onto the highway. So we have opened those discussions back up. Not sure where those will go, but we're working on that. And we've also started discussions with some other organizations who have roles kind of related to fire, emergency management, who may want to co-locate in the facility with us. So whether that's BC Ambulance, RCMP, us, those types of organizations, and whether or not we can kind of try to get everybody in one place. And then, there's still sort of the ongoing kind of community consultation and consultation with our local First Nation partners, particularly the ones that we have direct contracts with for service from the fire department. On the village office, we have received from our architect 50% construction drawings. So when they prepare their architectural drawings, they start with with kind of a very nondescript, I guess, uh, start, and then they add layers of detail to that. And so right now we've got about 50% of the detail has been added. And through that process, it was identified that we needed to rework some of the what was initially planned for the mechanical equipment. So this is the process that they go through so that they can discover those items and fix them before the drawings are 100% complete. So we're expecting the 75% drawings on September the 7th and the 90% drawings by the end of September. And when we receive the 90% drawings, then we'll be able to um, go out for tender for a contractor for the building. We have received exterior and interior renderings from the architect, so that's kind of like a drawing of it that gives you a little bit more context, and those we will have on hand at the Village Open House on August the 30th, just to display and sort of show people what we've been working on there. On the Public Works building, very exciting, almost complete. We are doing a ribbon cutting on Friday, August the 29th. The building won't be quite ready for the team to move into because there was a little bit of a holdup with some of the HVAC equipment. So there is no HVAC equipment in yet. So we're going to do the ribbon cutting, and then we'll work on moving the team over and getting things set up and completing that last little bit of the construction. But this is exciting. We're going to have the opening of our first public facility. So, although it's not really a public facility, but you know what I mean, one of our facilities. Um, and then on the water upgrades, we talked about this quite a bit at the last meeting, and so we have been moving forward with some of the investigation that's required up at the 265 reservoir to ensure that we have the maximum fire flows down into the village and and um, and can maintain those, can keep those up. So we have started some work up there, and that will continue. The East of Main repairs, they're almost complete. The contractor had another commitment that they had to return to for a couple of weeks, and then they'll come back and they'll finish off the last remaining bits of that. But there shouldn't be any disruption up there to traffic or anything like that. Everybody should be able to get through and get where they need to go. On the sewer upgrades, we're working on the design of the sewer upgrade on First Street and up the center lane up to about Third. And so that design is underway, and hoping to get that completed soon by the contractor. And we've also started some of the work with a contractor to look at the wastewater treatment plant and just to really kind of assess what are we're starting with sort of a state of it, like what is our current capacity, what kind of state is our equipment in, that type of thing. And then from there moving on to, okay, so then next step is what do we want to do with that information, and how do we want to gather all of the information about future growth, future uses, and then potentially what upgrades are needed to the plant. So that project is underway. And then we had an emergency sewer repair last week, which happened it started up on Old Trans Canada Highway where the pipes come under the highway. And then there was a blockage there. And then once they released that blockage and the flow started, then we realized that there was another issue on Alonzo Way near Fourth where the pipes were collapsed. So that wasn't getting through. So they've installed a tank there, a temporary tank, while we do an emergency repair along Alonzo Way of the sewer main. And then we'll be able to sewage will come down directly across and back into the flow of the system. But we kind of discovered a couple of problems at once, and they ended up being they're not related, but they ended up affecting each other, kind of thing. So the team was right on that, which was excellent, and was able to get that all set up with the tank, and so there wasn't any disruption in service to anybody there. So those are my comments on the capital projects.
Thank you. So let's just put the motion forward to accept this report for information. Councillor Lightfoot, seconder.
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments for CAO Marquette? Councillor Toss.
Thank you. Thank you for the fulsome report, CAO Marquette. I have 3 questions, one regarding the Public Works building, one on the hub, and one on the fire hall. So when the Public Works building is completed, is that going to house like both the Public Works and the recovery, sort of like Brian and our Public Works team, or is Brian staying at the mill?
At this time, we're intending for Brian to stay at the mill, where he's kind of got all set up there now, and we've had the recovery office there sort of all the way along. And the Public Works team and all of their equipment will move up to the Public Works building.
Okay, that was my first question. Thank you. Second, regarding the hub and the land swap with the Catholic Diocese.
Yes.
I know when we spoke with Lytton First Nation Chief and Council, they thought they might be able to help us with that transaction or have some input. Have we followed up on that, or could that be maybe an avenue that could still be explored? Did we get an email out to them or any sort of, I know they were going to get back to us, but I don't think I've heard anything about that.
Yeah, I think what we were trying to do at this stage was just kind of determine definitively what the Catholic Church's interest is, because we've been kind of talking about it for a couple of years, a couple of different scenarios. Maybe we'll lease it, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do. So we're trying to get a definitive answer first on that, and then try to, move forward from there.
Okay, I guess my suggestion might be then to ask Chief Nakaya if they have some arrangement with the Catholic Church in place that we might not be so privy to.
Right.
And then the last question is regarding the fire hall and the funding that we're in the process of applying for. Is that site specific? Are we now committed to having the fire hall on that site? If another site did become available that didn't require such extensive site preparation, would we still be eligible under that grant funding to use the funding?
My understanding is, yes, they don't consider the site, that they don't consider the change of the site to be like a material change. So
Not a deal breaker?
Yeah, so the
Okay.
short answer is yes, it is possible to use a different site.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments or questions? And per with Councillor Toss, the fulsome reports, much appreciated. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. We will move on to item number 7, which is Chief Financial Officer Diane Marquette, and the monthly reporting regarding the contribution agreement with the province of BC.
And thank you again, Mayor O'Connor. And this is again a very standard item that we look at every month. This is the expenditures that have been made under the grant from EMCR for $17.6 million for recovery and rebuilding. These are the expenditures for July. And so every month we submit a claim to them requesting reimbursement of the costs that we have incurred. And included in the package is our council report, but then also the template that we send them along with copies of all the invoices and listings of all the invoices and whatnot. So we require a council resolution to authorize us to send this information in. The claim for July is $503,000. Majority of that relates to the Public Works building.
Thank you. This is a two-part motion. Would somebody like to put that forward? Councillor Lightfoot and a seconder.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Michelle. Are there any comments or questions regarding this report? Councillor Lightfoot.
There's just one expense I wasn't sure of. I think I'm looking at the right page. Struggling to find it. No, I'm gonna take that back.
Is it on page? It's hard to sometimes when you're scrolling there. I have it on page 15 to 19.
Councillor Choss, did you have a?
Yeah, we'll pass it over to you.
Well, sure. I think the question might be what I also was curious about. Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. The LFN administration fee for this period was $9,472. Is that a percentage of something?
I'd have to dig out the exact invoice to be sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
I don't want
there's-
to. I don't want to respond unless I'm sure about what I'm saying.
Okay. Sure. It's the total claim for this. I believe this year is 317. So 1,000. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to get back to us on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. All right, we move right on to 7.1.3, no, 7.3, never mind. Corporate Officer Lisa Storchenko regarding council procedure amendment bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is just an amendment to more enhance the flexibility of our reporting, the roles, as well as having the committee of the whole independent of a regular council meeting. Because the way it reads right now is that we always have to go into a committee of the whole from a regular meeting, but this will allow us to hold it on a different day and a different time, and depending, if council wants those, we can call them as needed. And I did have a question from the members of the public, so I just wanted to clarify what the committee of the whole is. So it is kind of like a committee of council. So it is not a formal meeting, but it does still have to follow the community charter. So we do have all the same rules, same notice requirements and things like that. It is more informal. So there are no major decisions made in the committee of the whole. It's more just, directing staff and report back, things like that. There is no public portion, like comment portion in committee of the whole. That will be saved for the regular council meeting. So those were just some of the questions that I received when I had done the notice. So we did make a notice. We did make it public on a few occasions. So we did have it according to the community charter as well as our bylaw. We had it on August 8th, 14th, and the 18th for the public to make comment. And we didn't have anything else. So.
Thank you very much. So we're just looking at this report to come to us for information, but we do need a motion to receive this. So we've tossed. Thank you. And a seconder.
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any questions or?
Is this the time to ask questions or when it comes back? Or?
We can ask questions now.
I understand that people can't make public comment,
Yes.
but it is a public meeting.
It is, yes, yeah, the public one.
And they're like on YouTube.
It's not going to be on YouTube. It's not going to be live streamed, but it will be on Zoom.
Okay.
So public can still attend. And it's a good thing for people that aren't able to come to a meeting like tonight. They'll still get kind of the information that they're looking for during the day.
Would it be fair to say it's a discussion to develop strategy and perhaps share information to come to a better decision? An upcoming item?
Correct, yeah. Something like the water report that we had last time probably would have been a good one for the upcoming committee of the whole. just for more discussion, needs a clarification.
So, okay.
It said 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah. Did we decide we wanted to meet at 9 o'clock? Because if I was working, that would be a real issue for me. And I kind of wanted to ask Councilor Michelle if that was something she'd be happy with, or if maybe there could be a better time. Because I could pick almost 24 better times than 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. That was my only thing. Is like, I don't remember how that ended up there, but I'm wondering if it could be a time that would be more available to people who work. That for this council, maybe that's not so much the case, but that's not forever. And I know, I think there might be a better time for people that are working.
Is the time specifically in
The time is in the bylaw. Yeah, it's passed. Just because we also have it, regular council meeting, we add in there. So that's another thing. That's why we usually list it when it would be, so people know.
So that's something that we could maybe bring forward to them.
I think it is, if I could just respond to that, I think it's typical for these meetings to be held at 9 o'clock in the morning or in the morning. And often it's because the nature of the discussion, there's often staff members are required to attend. It's a little bit
Okay.
different in our scenario because staff members come to council as well, but you might have 2 or 3 staff members there who don't work in the evening. And so,
Yeah.
theoretically, they're adjusting schedules or we're paying them overtime or things like that to come to an evening meeting. So that's, I think, some of the rationale behind it. It doesn't mean that it has to be at 9 in the morning. I'm just saying that's where it comes from.
Okay. I did wonder. I thought there was a reason. I just wondered what it was. Yeah.
Mhm.
Councillor Cross.
Thank you. Is there a way to work around that, leave it open without specifying in the bylaw, or be like, do we have to say? Because I actually, to Councillor McCown's point also, was like, I don't remember discussing that. And I wonder if having it on the weeks that we don't have council instead of
That's-
first Tuesday of every month, that's what popped into my mind. I think when we
That's what it
first,
says. It says the first.
Yeah, first
Tuesday.
so instead of every first Tuesday of every month, have it on the off Tuesday. So like every other week. So we'd
That is an
actually,
off Tuesday. That's
It's an off
that because our
Tuesday,
council's second
but it would still
Tuesday.
only be once a month then. What I'm suggesting is
Yeah.
twice a month.
Oh.
Because previous to introducing this bylaw, we were meeting in an informal way, once a week. So we're actually changing that to twice a month, which is less than we were actually getting a chance to convene before. So I'm wondering if there's a way to leave it open anyway for discussion. We don't need to necessarily come to a time and a regular. Councillor McCann, I don't know what you had in mind, but first Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. wouldn't have been my first pick either.
Okay. My understanding is that typically, and then when I've talked with other municipalities, whatever, it is once a month that they're held, but
Mhm.
we could be open to that discussion.
So basically once a month, unless you need it more often, in which case you would call another,
Like a
right,
special.
for a specific reason.
And this is just until the end of this year. We'll have it for sure. Have it up, and we can also change it again in the new year. So it's, it's something we can't change.
I'll pull back my concerns and this isn't the hill I'm going to die on. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Lightfoot.
Well, I can see the advantage of having it on in the morning. 9 a.m., as Councillor Kenny pointed out, could be difficult for someone that's working, or even our own workers, in that maybe they've just arrived in the office and they need to delegate to other people or whatever. So I would prefer that time either be changed to 10 or left blank and just.
Okay.
In the meantime, we do have one scheduled for
September 2nd.
September 2nd, is it? Yeah, at 9 o'clock in the morning.
And that's a regular council meeting, right? Right now, because we don't have the bylaw change. So it's a regular council meeting that's going to immediately then go into a committee of the whole.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And so, you can put the bylaw forward this evening. I can make some more changes, and then I can bring it back if you want. We can discuss a bit more. Can I do that?
So we'll vote on it then.
Yeah.
So all those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Carried. All right, Public Works, we're moving right on to. Yeah, that's right, we were receiving this for information anyways. Public Works, so we do have a motion coming forward regarding the purchase of a propane tank. And the motion is actually going to be amended, and I'm going to maybe ask Brian if he would mind explaining it. If you're good with that.
Sure. Thanks, Mayor and Council. So
Okay.
the report to council that I'm bringing forward is for the purchase of a propane tank to supply heat for the shop in the new Public Works building. We need to amend the recommended motion to remove initial fuel fill, as the motion doesn't include the actual filling of propane, but just the purchasing and setup of the tank. Okay, so that's
So does it include the installation as well?
yes,
Oh, it
yes.
does, okay.
The tank setup and installation, but not the actual fuel.
Fuel itself, okay.
So we've looked at a few different options, rental, lease versus purchase outright. The benefits of purchasing a tank outright allows you flexibility to shop around for fuel. Fuel's obviously a market that fluctuates quite rapidly throughout the years, and this is perhaps a cost savings that we could look at doing. One of the negatives is the tank does have a lifespan of 25 years, in which case it needs to be recertified. So in the event of 25 years, whomever will be looking at the potential of having to either purchase or recertify that tank, whatever the cost is at that time. But like I say, there is a cost savings to being able to shop around and purchase your fuel from whomever has the best price at that time. The three people that quoted on it was CanGas at a price of $58.12 for the tank. That did not include setup, so there was an additional cost on that. Their price per liter was 0.575. Burden Propane was a tank cost of $6,020, includes setup and delivery, and their price per liter was 0.5262, so the lowest of the three. And then Superior Propane didn't give a price for purchasing the tank, only for rental. And their prices were also 0.54, so not the lowest price on that. So the recommendation at this point right now is to go with Burden Propane at a cost of $6,020 for a 500-gallon tank installed and delivered to the Public Works building for the winter of 2025.
All right, so let's, who would like to put that amended motion forward?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, and a seconder.
Plus,
Thank you. Are there questions, comments? Councillor Lightfoot.
That's
I'm just curious, is there any difficulty in having propane deliveries?
There can be. So over the course of looking at these things, I did consider a 500 and 1,000-gallon tank. The size of the heating unit itself and the fact that it's only really doing the shop, 500 should be sufficient. Obviously, with road closures and those types of things, you can't predict what may happen.
But all the suppliers, they don't care where the tank came from as long as it's certified. They don't
Correct.
have.
Yeah, as long as it's a certified tank, anybody can fit.
But aside from road closures, there's constant, like Superior comes through, Burton comes through. There's always someone available.
Yeah, and these tanks have an automatic fill device on them that sends a GPS signal when it gets something over the Wi-Fi. I'm not exactly sure how it does it, but it lets it know when you're down at 20%.
Oh.
And all manufacturers are using those.
I only ask because I know of some residents that have had outside of the municipality that have had difficulty getting deliveries over the last couple of years.
I'm one of those people.
Okay, any other comments, questions, Councillor Toss?
thank you, Mayor O'Connor. Just so for perspective, like the propane tank at our local gas station down here, is that 1,000 gallon?
No, that'd be 5,000 gallons.
Okay,
It'd be significantly bigger.
okay.
A 500 gallons is approximately the length of
Table.
this table and about that.
Okay, so they're like the tubular ones, like,
Yeah.
not like the marshmallow
They could end up being three
different shapes.
150
Oh, okay.
similar to the ones that are outside. It really, I'm kind of still working on what's the best price for that, but 500 gallons is the capacity that we'll be looking for.
And that's heating the shop?
Correct.
And then there's also electrical, right?
There's a separate heating system for the offices.
Right.
So in the event that propane ran out, it would only be the shop itself that would be getting heat.
So there's no provision. The reason I asked about the bigger tanks is because like the gas station, you can kind of fill up somebody's tank. So in the case of emergency, if you wanted to fill up a propane tank, it wouldn't have that kind of ability.
It kind of goes the opposite way. The bigger tank has to fill a smaller tank. So
Yeah.
you need a tank.
So you need like 1,000 gallon
Yeah.
or 5,000
To fill it.
for that capability. Last question is, if we went with the recommended motion 6,020, I divided that by the 299 year for the superior, that's 20 years amortized to make up $6,000.
Right.
And then you're only left with 5 years of time before it needs to be certified again.
Correct.
So what's the rationale in that because it would take us 20 years to, and then we'd have a new tank. Ostensibly, they would replace it with a new tank.
That is an option that you may wish to consider.
Okay.
There's no
That makes more sense, but
there's
I'm
no guarantees in
talking
the
out of it.
market value of fuel.
uh-huh.
So the reduction, even though it's only point, I think,
1 cent cheaper for that, but
yeah, like,
the ability to make the decision to come from a different supplier.
well, even at that,
Okay.
roughly, and excuse me, my accounting's not the greatest, but I'm guesstimating you're looking at $50 a tank. So if you fill it twice a year, $100 a year for 20 years, you start saving a couple $1,000, right?
Okay.
If fuel all of a sudden went to $1 with the supplier that you're locked in with on the rental tank, and you were able to get it for 60 cents from another company, there's a significant savings there.
Makes sense. Thank you very much.
Councillor McCann.
I had a couple questions. So the reason that the shop has to be heated with propane is because it's a big airspace? Is that why?
No, there's no reason per se that it has to be. That is what it's spec'd out to be right now, and that requires a propane tank to
Yes, that's what I was,
the
because
purchase.
you said the other half of the building is heated differently.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Electric. It's a
Baseboard.
Light pump.
A heat pump?
Yeah.
So they will be cooled and heated.
Yeah.
All right, and the shop will also be cooled and heated?
I don't believe there's cooling in the shop.
Oh.
No, I think it would just be heat source only.
Oh.
It's not really
Okay,
feasible to cool a building that big, especially with the 14 by 14 door. The moment you open it, you
Yeah.
just lost
everything out the door.
all of it. And that goes for heat as well. So
Yeah.
really,
That's one thing.
it can be difficult to judge how much you're going to use
Mhm.
based on how you use it.
And the offices don't have air conditioning either.
I don't know.
That's-
But I've seen.
If it
has a heat
On
pump.
the side of it, yeah.
I'm not
would
sure
be-
it does though.
I
Use
still
electric
like it.
baseboard.
Any other questions?
Well, yeah, I just would like to finish where I was going with this.
Yeah.
So for the building as it is now, that's the way it's set up and that's the way it will go. I have no issues. Like I kind of thing about propane and how far into the future we're going to be needing propane, but that's just, you live with what you live with.
Right.
But, so for me, I'd like to know, and for CEO Marquette, is if at some time real soon, the village couldn't explore putting solar panels on the roof of that building to cut back some of the electricity that is being spent on just maintaining the building and heating that one side. That I'd really like to explore that at some point in time and not just lose it in the flow like this is going to just go ahead. But I think the building itself could really benefit from that, and so could the village to offset costs. So that would be my one recommendation for the building is go ahead and propane heat it, but put some solar panels on the roof.
Yeah.
Something back out of it.
Energy for electricity as well, so. For now, we have a propane heater that
Exactly.
will need fuel for the,
The motion is specific to a 500 gallon
Yeah.
tank and through burden propane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there are any other questions, comments, I'll call the question and all those in favor? Carrie? Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move right on to the backfill update, which is Brian as well.
thank you, Mayor O'Connor, Council. So as I stated earlier, back again for the monthly update on the backfill of Zone 7. The background being in the summer of 2023, the village began backfilling the properties that had been remediated. Work was completed for zones 1 to 6 before the program was paused for the winter of 2023. During 2024, some progress was made in assessing and completing the backfill for a handful of properties. Backfill program is scheduled to be completed by September 2025 this year. I'm still in discussions with pretty much all residents to get final sign off on what we've done in Zone 7, but individual properties that I'm looking at right now, 810 Main, I would say we've completed approximately 70% to 80% of the work on that property. I've got a work plan submitted right now to remove the remaining foundation on the east side of the property, as well as there'll be some minor cleanup and along with Public Works restoring water and sewer to the property. 725 Station Road. I'll be meeting with the property owner this weekend to see if there's anything else that we may need to complete, but otherwise I'm considering this property to be completed other than water and sewer connections, which again will be done through Public Works. Actually, the water will be connected on East Main for that. They'll be getting a new service on that project as well. 5571 Main Street. So this is the foundation slope stabilization project that was at the bottom of the hill. It has been completed, the foundation removal and slope stabilization. And again, I'm meeting with the property owner this Thursday to discuss final steps on that property. 675 Fraser and 141 7th Street, which is the property just outside the office here. I did do some soil sampling out of, just a concern to make sure that everything was done according to what is required. I've received back the results and I'm just working on how we can remediate or move forward with that project. We do have a work plan in place for capping, but I haven't scheduled the work as of yet. 822 Station Road should be a relatively simple backfill. However, there's a bunch of utilities that I want to work with Public Works on to identify, locate, and make sure that we're not digging up something after we just put a bunch of dirt on top of it. 2566 Street was listed as a property that didn't require any work. Recently, I noticed a piece of concrete foundation that's still remaining in the ground, so I've submitted a work plan to have that removed. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll be speaking with all the property owners in Zone 7 to try to get final sign off and documentation on the work to date, with the plan being that this will come to an end at the end of September 2025. Sorry, one that isn't on here but has been discussed is 666 650. So this is the property to the left as you exit. It has an initial cap on it right now. We're working out the details again. We have a work plan in place to raise that property up to Main Street level. The details are being worked out with the property owners and archaeologists, contractors, to how we're going to do that.
Well, you have listed all those properties and sounds promising that things will get settled in the next month. So good. Councillor Lightfoot.
Yeah, I just wanted to make comment on that last property. Before the new bridge was put in, and that was just a service road down to the hospital, I believe the level it is now was street level.
You're correct.
My concern is that the alleyway will almost need a retaining wall if you make it street level at the beginning, but it is.
No, that's fine. So initially, what I had seen come back from the work plan, which I inherited, was a framing of the property right to the laneway. Through discussions with the property owner and everybody involved, we're looking to move that framework in 20 feet from the laneway. So essentially, it'll remain where it is now, 20 feet towards Main Street. So you'll have a flat area. So the idea for both of these properties is to try to avoid having them mounted beside the lane for drainage and everything.
Mhm.
And waterworks and sewer works and.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, any other comments or questions? The report tonight. All right, so we have a motion to receive this report for information. Or Lightfoot, and a secondary.
Second.
And there's no other questions or comments. All those in favor?
Hi.
Carried. Okay, we move on to bylaws for reading and readings. And we have the council procedure bylaw 722 that was presented to us tonight. And we're looking at council considering giving the first 3 readings. So recommended motion.
I'll make
here. Thank you, Councillor Michelle, seconder. Thank you, Councillor Toss. Are there any further questions or comments regarding this? All those in. Oh, Councillor McCann.
Just making sure I understand, because I often don't. Right, so this is when we're talking about with the committee of the whole?
Yeah.
All right, and then we had said that we would, something about coming back, so explain to me where we're going with this.
We can do, give like the first 2 readings tonight and then come to the third as amended. So I can do that, because just so we can move forward with.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise we have to kind of start all over again.
That's-
So we can do that, and then I can come back for third as amended, and then we can go for adoption after that. So.
So we put the motion forward to the first 3 readings.
So do we need to amend?
Amend, Councillor McCann?
Yeah.
Amend the original motion to say first 2 readings.
Yeah.
Can I have a seconder for Councillor?
I'll second.
Okay, Councillor Lightfoot. One of you, Councillor. Are there any comments or questions regarding that?
Yeah.
All those in.
Oh, I had a question.
Oh, sorry.
Just a comment. Under the bylaw, it says the name of this bylaw for citation purposes of Lytton Council Procedure Amendment Bylaw, and it's just a typo, 772 instead of 727.
So all those in favor of the amended motion? And carried. And so the original motion just goes away. We don't do anything with it.
Well, we should actually still vote on
Okay.
it. Yeah,
So looking back at the original motion
for first 3
for
readings.
the first 3 readings, all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. You defeated. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Then we move on to a bylaw for adoption, building amendment bylaw 771. And it's one that we brought from the first 3 readings at the last council meeting. So a motion to adopt this bylaw, Councillor Lightfoot, and a seconder, Councillor McCann. Are there any questions or comments regarding it? Nope. All those in favor? Carried. That was simple. All right, we're moving on to correspondence, item 9. And one piece come in from CPKC regarding Rail Safety Week. And if you remember, quite a month or 2 ago, I can't remember, we put a motion forward with a request from CN for Rail Safety Week. This is for our information from CP. So again, a motion to receive this correspondence for information.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Toss, seconder,
I'll second.
Councillor McCann. Any comments regarding this? Councillor Lightfoot?
I'm just wondering if they have a rail safety week information flyer or whatever, if we could post that on our website.
Yeah, they did send some links to some information that, yeah, that'd be a great idea to have.
So should I make that into a motion?
Nope, I think we already have that also with the proclamation from before.
We also be added to the other information that CN provided. Okay. All those in favor? All right, verbal reports.
My ear.
I don't have enough to report. August 13th, I attended, a PAC meeting for the community hub. We met with the architect and had a conversation regarding that, which was really good discussion. On the 14th, I attended TNRG and Campus. On the 20th, August the 20th, I participated in the EMCR, Emergency Management Climate Readiness webinar. They've been having them every 2 weeks now. They were starting with once a month. A couple of things came out of that at that time, which was just last week. There was only one fire of note in the province, and that was on Vancouver Island, right? But one of the things they did mention is they often report on, river levels, snowpack, not this time of year, snowpack, but drought, that kind of thing. But one of the things they mentioned was that they're expecting to see an El Nino year this winter, which means wet and potentially snow or rain. So that's we know what that can mean. I attended both coffees with the mayor, and I'm really pleased, with summer weather, we're still getting a decent turnout. And people are sharing that they really appreciate having those coffees every Monday and the consistency of it. So that was good feedback we received. I'd also like to comment that I had somebody street the other day come up to me and commend our seasonal employee that we hired and shared how impressed they were with the work ethic and how they just never seem to stop working. They just continue work, and how positive it was. So I would appreciate if staff would relay that to our new employee and share that his work is being noticed. And I would like to share just my own observation that right now, I guess partly it's getting ready for River Festival coming up, but the work that's been done around the community to clean up, to weed whack, to sweep the sidewalks, to the town is looking very, very good. And of course, speaking of Riverfest, CAO Marquette mentioned the long weekend. We have our open house on Friday. The ribbon cutting on Friday at our new Public Works building. And then on Saturday at Riverfest, we have open house at the Public Works building as well. So that's it for my report. I look forward to seeing people at those events. We'll move on to Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I don't have a lot to report. I've heard from a few residents around concerns around the usual stuff, pool planning, backfilling, and I've relayed that to staff. Interesting, I think a few insured property owners have been receiving notices from the class action lawyers, which is interesting to see that that's still moving along I don't know who else received them, but I have. And so that's happening in the background, which is interesting. I'm really looking forward to Riverfest, and thank you so much to Two Rivers Community Service Society and all the members of the Riverfest committee that put this together, because it looks really exciting, and the shade structure as well. So from my home, I can see people stopping at our new shade structure, and it is so nice to see people get out of the car and sit in the shade, which we intended. So thank you so much to everybody that had something to do with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McCann.
Thank you, Mayor. Like you were saying, there wasn't a lot. I also attended the PAC meetings. And I felt that there was some really fruitful conversations with everyone there contributing and sharing their ideas. And I hope that the architects came away with some work that they can do with that. I went to the coffees with the mayor and was quite impressed with the August 18th. My goodness, there were lots of people there, people we hadn't seen for a long time. And so it was nice to check in and see where they're at. On the 20th, Councillor Lightfoot and I went to a subcommittee meeting with the Fire Smart team working on policy development. And Councillor Lightfoot is much better at that than I am, but I'll try and learn anyway. I have personally been pretty busy with the final presentation for the River Festival this weekend. I'm looking forward to attending the Public Works open house and ribbon cutting. We have some busy days ahead, and I appreciate all the effort put into events celebrating our community. And I mean that in a very broad and personal sense. Like, people are doing great work out there, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Councillor Michelle
Nothing to report.
and Councillor Lightfoot.
I was able to make it to coffee this week, and as you pointed out, people really seem to enjoy that regular kind of interaction. It's good to be out. Also, as Councillor McCann said, the Fire Smart subcommittee is looking at policy to encourage compliance of fire resistant responsible landscaping and how to address issues within our larger community, because we're all affected. Doesn't matter which boundary you're within or whatever, ultimately we're all interconnected. And as Councillor McCann said, River Fest is this weekend. I'd been hoping for cooler days, but every day I look at the weather, it seems to be getting hotter. So Saturday is supposed to be 33, so I'm hoping everyone comes with a big bottle of water, and I'm sure that our water stands have potable water so they can refill on a regular basis. But I think it's a good opportunity for people that haven't seen each other for a long time just to sit around and listen to some good music and play some games. Fraserlands Church has been really instrumental in helping give a good Saturday program for kids. They've got their photo booths and their popcorn machine and cotton candy. And so I know that they're excited. They want to visit the Johnny's Museum and go down to the river with Byron and hear some more stories. So it'll be a great weekend. We don't have to worry about rain.
I don't think so.
Thank you. All right, so we're moving on, and because that's the end of our meeting. So we are going to be closing this open portion to move into closed meeting, where we will discuss matters under 91.1A, C, E, and K of the community charter. So we do require a motion. Councillor Lightfoot, seconder.
Sure.
Councillor McCann, all those in favor? And carried. I will turn it back over to CO Store.
Thank you, Mayor Connor. That concludes the public portion of our regular council meeting of August 26th. We ask that the public and staff please remove yourself from the meeting as we go into close. Thank you for attending. Have a wonderful night, and I invite council to take a short recess while I reset the meeting to close.